G'day guys, how you going? A little bit over 10 hours since the draw last night, and I wanted to do this review pretty quickly. Could have sort of held off um, until later today or tomorrow, but it's a quick turnaround. We've got Geelong next Thursday night. I'll be I'll be absorbed in the other games this weekend, so I wanted to get this out of the way. Um, and get I suppose my just my feelings really. I think my thoughts going into this game. I didn't have a hell of a lot of expectations around the way we would perform. It was just a matter of just being generally excited to see what we bring to the table and to come away with a draw in round one against Richmond, who, yeah, I think they're probably, if you look at it in the context of last year and what we saw last night, we're around about the same mark. Yeah, it's an interesting one because the Tigers obviously had that wonderful period, and they've come back a little bit. Yeah, they've come back a little bit, and there's almost a bit of a reset. Um, they've lost some key personnel. They've still got some absolute champs, and not just good footballers. And let's think about that for a minute. There's one thing to be a across the whole competition to be considered an elite player, um, and continually have sort of smoke blown up your ass. But there's another thing to be a great player who consistently performs, but not just play great games, but just smart and composed, calm. And they've still got those players, yeah. So when the ball's in their hands, for the most part, you go, yeah, Dusty, Lynch, Revolt. You just feel safe if you're a Richmond supporter with those guys still there. And it's a bit like Geelong, I suppose, when they had Selwood and they got Danger, and you just feel really safe. Now, I can't say that about anyone in our team. Anyone. Not even our best. And we apparently, which we have, and this is not knocking. This is not knocking. Well, I suppose it is. But our best, and we've got some of apparently the elite players of the competition on huge money, um, who have yet to show us, that they are composed AFL footballers. Good AFL footballers in that they can do some terrific things and take the game by the scruff of the neck and kick goals and rack up possessions. But games are won in moments. Yeah, they're just won in moments, in key moments. And when you're sitting there last night watching that game, not for one second did I believe that we could hang on, because I just don't believe we have anyone in our team who've proven yet that they have the capabilities to make the right decisions at the right time. Anyway, I'll probably get to that. Um, I listened to a little bit of Michael Voss's press conference, and I think he's got a bit of a kick up the arse from a large section of the wider football community, and in particular a lot of Carlton fans, and that's okay. Everyone's entitled to how they feel, and I'm not going to sit back and say that when Michael Voss says he was proud of his players in their performance or their efforts, I'm not going to say I'm particularly happy with that dialogue. considering we were 6 points up or 7 points up and an opportunity to win that game of football, and that's what it's about. It's about winning. But I sort of understand where he's coming from, and the thing I'm getting out of our football club at the moment about the messaging, and Crip said it after the game about learning. It was almost a sense that this is us. I think they've accepted the fact that this is them. I reckon internally that they know they're a bit off. I think every club wants to believe and tell the supporter base that it will come or it's coming and we're working hard behind the scenes, which I'm sure they are. But I don't know. I just feel that this group, and even though we've got a few injury concerns, I don't think that would have made much of a difference last night. I don't know. I just get this sense that they're sort of accepting the fact that there's a lot to work on here that we don't necessarily know about. So we've been sold this sort of notion that we were supposed to be coming, but now there's this, well, it's just learning. And now Voss is saying he's proud of the efforts. It's almost like the second phase of the rebuild, more than the fact that this team of ours should be in the position now to be really making some big statements. And I'm not comfortable. I don't like it, but I'm understanding that this is us. This is us. The frailties, the holes in the list, and the lack of composure and footy now, some footy smarts at key moments in games. These are things I don't necessarily just go away because behind the scenes they're learning. I think it's a combination of both the mental aspect of the game and what you're actually capable of as a footballer. And then bringing it all together and what you're capable of as a football team. Now, they went into that game clearly last night with a plan, which is a positive, and that was to deny Richmond of the ball early in that game by keeping possession. It looked calm, but did it look natural to us? Not quite sure. But, those deep entries certainly should have put Richmond under a lot of pressure. But the ease of which that ball was brought out, even in that first quarter, was actually quite startling at ground level. So, and then Richmond were able to go a little bit more man on man. Okay, we went back into our old habits of just kicking the ball long down the line, and we didn't have another way to counter-attack that. So we went in with a plan, but it was almost like a naive plan that Richmond wouldn't have an answer to what we were able to do. And this is my concern. It's easy to look at it and go, okay, we choked, or let's sink the boots into a Matt Owies, or let's sink the boots into the lesser likes like a Zach Fisher, Lockie O'Brien when he came on, whoever it is. And there's no doubt that a lot of teams, most teams, and even Richmond last night will have blokes that look like they're dragging the chain. And to get an even contribution across the whole of your football team is something most clubs try to strive to do. But I will say one thing, and the thing that concerns me the most, because Richmond still have their top-end talent. Dusty, Lynch, Bolton, they've got them there. Okay, I'm not going to go right through Richmond's team. And one thing I knew, and I'm just going to use Tom Lynch as the prime example here. Late in that game, and even in the third quarter, and Lynch was down early. When Lynch gets the ball, we just know he's going to, and Richmond supporters would know this as well, they'd be so comfortable with the ball in his hands as a forward. When he took that mark late in the game, it was a great mark. And I know the pressure wasn't there from the Carlton players, but there was a good block put in there. I think it was by Taranto. You want to take a mark like that late in the game, reaching the ball at its highest point, tired legs, tired arms, pressure, and then to go back and be composed, not snap the ball around his body, just go back and kick the goal. That's a footballer, man. That's a footballer. Yeah. And they've still got them, the Tigers. They've still got them. Revolt the same. Cotchin, for the most part, the same. He is failing, but he was good in that last quarter, Trent Cotchin. And we've got elite talent. There's no doubt about that. Well, we think we do. But all our guys at the top end are flawed. This is no disrespect. Because they do so much. And I think sometimes we do rely on these guys so much, and maybe their mistakes are just heightened because they have such an impact. But when will it change, and will it change? And is there enough guys on the outside of that elite challenge who can take up the slack, who are capable? And I feel like there's a bit of a changing of the guard here, and there's no doubt in my mind that the reason why Cowan and the reason why Hollands played last night, obviously there's some injuries, but were preferred over others because they are competitors, and that's what you ask of your football team. Bring a good attitude, bring competitiveness, and that's what we brought last night. And we brought that, never in question. But it needs to be more than that. This is professional football. It needs to be more than that. So we ticked that box last night, and that's why Michael Voss was so proud. That's what he asked. Okay, bring the effort, bring the attitude, bring the competitiveness, and let the other stuff look after itself. But unfortunately, even our stars are flawed. And every footballer has got flaws. Second quarter, Patrick Cripps had a huge last quarter. But second quarter made customary Patrick Cripps mistakes 3 times. Played on after we got a free kick, ball turned over. Ran too far, got caught holding the ball, crucial time, ball turned over. And then late in that quarter, with about 30 seconds on the clock, when we were 14 points up, I thought to myself, okay, let's just settle it down here. Got the ball on the wing. Let's just settle it down here. Go in 14 points up. Now he plays on really quickly. Ball gets turned over across half back for Richmond. They stream it down. And luckily, I think there was about 8 or 9 seconds on the clock that the siren sounded. Now, when is that? How many times do we want to talk about that? Those types of things in our skipper, in our leader. Harry. Big game, big marks, 2 missed shots at crucial times. Are we going to be talking about that forever? Those types of things. We spoke about it in last year, late in the season. Adam Saad, supposed to be an elite halfback flanker of the competition. You scratch your head in amazement sometimes of some of the decisions he makes. Sam Doherty, the same. So I feel because we don't get enough from others, that these guys have to do too much, that we're not going to get it. It's not going to happen with this group. I just don't feel like it's going to happen with this group. I really don't. And there were some decent signs last night, and we did some things well. But I want to have complete confidence, at least in 5 or 6 players. I want to have that confidence. So when they've got the ball late, or when it's tight, or when you've got control and got momentum, doesn't have to be late in the game when it's close. I mean, the last 3 games it's been so close and frantic, but I'm meaning in other parts of the game as well. When the opposition kick 2 or 3 goals in succession, who do you feel safe with in our football team? Who, other than being a competitor, like they're all competitors and they've got a competitive streak, and I think that's starting to shine through with our team, and that's a trait of Michael Voss. But when you talk about composure and smarts and nous, who is it? Who is it? Can that be taught? I don't know if it can. I don't know if it can. I think you either got it or you haven't. All right, let's go through the players. Hope that makes sense, guys. That's the way I'm feeling at the moment. Ty Maloney tell. George Hewitt, good first half, 21 touches. Thought he was huge. Tired. Just tired. And I spoke about our midfield depth. We got sweet fuck all out of Zach Fisher. I thought we probably got sweet fuck all out of Ed Curnow as well. Although Ed Curnow was playing more of a defensive forward role, just didn't see it working. Although Ed was still running on top of the ground the last quarter, just didn't feel he added much to our midfield mix. So that midfield group had to do a lot of work, and I thought Hewitt tired, but he was good early. Doherty, great goal in the last quarter, huge goal, but yeah, made some mistakes. Cripper mentioned his game in that third quarter, huge last quarter. I reckon he'd be disappointed with that. Kennedy, the same. Had his moments, just not clean below his knees, but just, yeah, some of his disposals weren't great. Thought McGovern, if that's an indication of what we're going to expect from him this year, then please stay fit, mate. I know he probably had the easier role being the third man up, but, made some mistakes, but I thought he was one of our best. I thought actually our defenders actually defended quite well. Chera, the same as probably Hewitt, Doherty. Look, I just think they have to do too much, that quartet. Lewis Young, one of the great tussles you'll see this year with Reebok. Thought it was a highlight of the game, to be perfectly honest. Thought he had some big moments. Same with Wiedering. Probably in the end had his colours lowered to Lynch. He was big, but I like Wiedering's game. He looked aggressive, looked tough, and we were under the pump. I think the Tigers had 20 more inside 50s. Sard, didn't like his game. Just made too many mistakes and had a poor pre-season in regards to his pre-season form. But we know he's better than that. But I just did not like it. Akers, quiet start to his career with us. Had some fumbles, looked a little bit slow, laid some big tackles, dropped that mark late, 16 touches. Yeah. Newman had his hands full with Martin. Curnow, not enough, not AFL quality anymore, sorry. McKay, 10 marks, missed opportunities in that third quarter really hurt us. De Koning, serviceable without being outstanding. Do we need more than serviceable? Probably, but we'll take it at the moment. Hollins ran his ring off. Know why he's in the team. He's a competitor, at least. Is that enough, though? Probably not at this stage. Owies, not good enough, I don't think. Kicked a goal. Just don't think he's AFL quality. Motlop had a great battle with Baker, kept Baker quiet. Really rate Baker, and I thought Motlop only had the 10 touches, looked engaged, although I think the area he really needs to improve on is his defensive efforts. Thought that was really poor by our small forwards on the night. Curnow, opportunist game, couldn't get separation from Grimes, who wore him like a glove, but at least he hit the scoreboard. Fisher, just poor, just really, really poor other than that first goal. Cowan, same as Hollins, real competitor. Came off, can't see him playing next week. He'll be a player in time, but we're asking big things, aren't we, of two 18-year-olds. It's bullshit, really. Martin, didn't see a lot of him. Really, really quiet. Silvani took a nice mark early, but that was it. And I'm not making excuses for him because he needs to go on the ruck. That's Jack Silvani. Just a really, really quiet game. 5 touches and just the 1 goal. And O'Brien came on. Yeah, he had his moments in that last quarter. I don't blame him for what happened late. It was actually a really good kick to Harry, who fell over. Could things have been done differently? Yeah, maybe they could have. But you're asking a bloke to come on in the last quarter who's been sitting on the pine for the whole game and make a huge impact. But that's about it, guys. Chin up. We've got the Cats next week, and let's see how we